We are here with the refreshed 2019 Honda Pilot in sunny Southern California. And we don't normally get that excited about mid-cycle refreshes, but the Pilot might be an exception to that because it seems that Honda has directly addressed some of the issues that we had with the Pilot, and we're hoping that it makes it much better. We also had a chance to test out the Pilot in some new environments, so we got to tow with it and take it off-road for the first time. Three-row SUVs continue to grow in popularity, which means that automakers are paying more attention to the segment than ever before, and that makes it very difficult to stay on top. The Pilot is the perfect example of that. In 2016, it won our three-row SUV challenge, but just 1 year later in 2017, against new competitors, it slipped all the way to third. Now, we have some consistent gripes with the Pilot since 2016, and that would be Powertrain, the Multimedia System, and the third row. Now, one of our big gripes with the Pilot has been its 9-speed automatic transmission, and we found it to be laggy and unresponsive both from a stop and while you're trying to pass someone. So for 2019, Honda has made a few changes to the transmission in order to address those things. It's got new hardware on the inside, and they've also changed up the programming. So for example, the Pilot now will launch in second gear rather than first gear in most circumstances. Honda has about halfway fixed the problems with the transmission. The Pilot is definitely more confident from a stop. It has very linear acceleration from low speeds, but if you're trying to accelerate to pass someone, the transmission still has trouble picking the right gear. Does it shift more fluidly? Maybe, but since the transmission can't seem to make up its mind and pick a gear for you, there's a noticeable lag between when you hit the accelerator pedal and that actually translates into forward motion. Our second gripe with the Pilot was its multimedia system. Now, it used to have the same multimedia system that you would find in the current generation of the Honda Civic, and that system was kind of miserable to use. It was overly complicated, it had too many menus and a poor structure, and it also had no physical knobs for volume or tuning and an over-reliance on capacitive touch buttons around the screen. Now in the Pilot, though, you'll get a brand new multimedia system that's also found in the new Accord and the new Odyssey. And the first thing that it does very well is it simplifies the menu structure. So you have these large icons that allow you to switch between different functions, and you can also add them as shortcuts to the top of the screen for easy access. And they're easier to grab, especially when you're driving. You also get a physical volume knob, which we really appreciate. The system doesn't do everything perfectly though. It is a little bit tilted too far back for my taste, and it makes it hard to reach from the driver's seat, so you actually have to lean forward to reach the right side of the system. And the navigation app is still not the best. It's powered by Garmin, and it's a bit laggy when you're doing things like pinching and zooming or moving the map around. Our recommendation would be that if you're going to use the screen for navigation, to plug in a phone and use either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Those integrations are pretty seamless compared to this map. Our final gripe is with the Pilot's third row, and that hasn't really been addressed since this is only a refresh and not really a redesign, which would give Honda more of a chance to change up the wheelbase of the platform, do something to kind of expand the third row to add some space. Now, but the Pilot's third row still does have decent headroom here and decent legroom if you're able to negotiate with the second row passengers, but the problem is that the floor on the third row is still super high, and what that does is it pushes your knees and legs off the seat, and it makes it not very comfortable to sit back here for more than 10 or 15 minutes. The third row also lacks some of the convenience features that you'd find in newer vehicles, namely that there are no USB charge ports or 12-volt ports back here to charge devices for passengers. The Pilot was about 50% successful in addressing the previous problems that we had with the vehicle. But at this event, we also had a chance to try out the Pilot in two new environments, towing and off-road. Now for towing, if you equip the Pilot with a towing package that adds a trailer hitch and a larger intercooler, that bumps up towing capacity to about 5,000 pounds. And we had a chance to tow a 4,000 pound trailer that came complete with a Honda Civic Si race car on the back. The Pilot towed much more confidently than I thought it would. The powertrain didn't seem taxed, even with that large load in the back. And sometimes the suspension on vehicles like this can get a little bit tricky or a little bit confused when you're towing that much weight. But it still rode well at highway speeds, and I had enough acceleration to pull out into traffic confidently. In addition to towing, I was also pleasantly surprised at how well the Pilot performed off-road. Let's talk for a little bit about Honda's all-wheel drive system. So we are here on an off-road course, and this is actually the first time I've taken a Pilot off-road, which kind of speaks to how the car is viewed. It is, mostly seen as a family-type crossover that doesn't really have much capability, and Honda wanted to kind of change that perception, so here we are on an off-road course. Now, there are a few things that make the Pilot a more viable off-road vehicle than you would think, starting with its all-wheel drive system. It's one of the only cars in this class that I believe comes with a true torque vectoring system that's not brake-based. So it actually has an electronically controlled limited slip differential. And what that does is it's able to send 100% of the torque that goes to the rear wheels to the left or the right. So the system overall can send about 70% of the power to the rear, and then 100% of that power can either be split left or right depending on conditions. One of the things that I like about this system is that it's actually pretty aggressive. You get this kind of handy display in the instrument panel that shows you exactly where the torque is going and which wheels are being used. And it's fairly aggressive even like in street driving as well as out here on an off-road course. It does a very good job of moving power around to wheels that have it. Now, we have run into this system before. It's pretty much the same one that you'll find on the Honda Ridgeline, and when we've driven that car off-road, we've been very impressed by its traction control and the way that it moves power around to the wheels that are going to drive the car. And the same thing is definitely true about the Pilot. The Pilot is still a unibody crossover. It's still only got about 8 inches of ground clearance and not a ton of suspension flex. So you're not going to be able to do things like crawl over big rocks or go over really kind of robust trails where you need the suspension to flex a lot. But on like a dirt road or anything like this, it does very well and it's very capable. I think it would actually surprise most people how capable this vehicle is. The 2019 Honda Pilot is unquestionably improved. The multimedia system is a big leap forward, and the improvements to the powertrain are noticeable. However, to fully fix the vehicle's issues, it seems like it's going to need a full redesign that expands third row space and includes a new automatic transmission. The 2019 Honda Pilot is on sale now, and for more information about it, head over to Cars.com.